Alright, so this is to help you prepare for your quiz, section 5.1, 5.2. First thing I'm going to mention is you're going to have some problems where you're going to have to simplify. Okay, simplify means I'm not giving you the right hand side, I'm going to give you the left hand side and ask you to simplify. Things you're going to do to simplify will be factoring, okay, changing terms to sines and cosines, common denominator, using the conjugate, and then lastly using the Pythagorean identities. So those are the tricks that you use to simplify and verify these trig functions. Let me give you an example. If on the quiz you were given a problem like this and asked to simplify it, you got to be thinking sines and cosines. So rewrite the terms in terms of sines and cosines and make sure you know how to do complex division. Take the reciprocal, which is cosine x over sine x, and we end up with cotangent x. That would be your answer. There is one on the quiz just like that, not overly complex. You should all be able to get that one right. If you're given secant x times sine x over tangent x as another example, this is a perfect one again where if you go ahead and put everything into sines and cosines, the answer comes out pretty quickly. The tangent becomes sine x over cosine x, and when we do all the math, we multiply, we end up with sine of x cosine x over sine of x cosine x, and we get 1. So the instructions on these will be simplified. Using the conjugate is something that you do most of the time when you have a denominator like this. You have a 1 minus sine y in the denominator. The way you clear that out is you multiply by the conjugate. So when you see a problem like this, multiply by the conjugate. Do the math. When you multiply by the conjugate, this is a minus b times a plus b. That's just going to be a squared minus b squared. 1 minus sine squared y, use a Pythagorean identity. That is the same as cosine squared y. So we end up with cosine squared y, 1 plus sine y over cosine squared y. We can cross off here. We have multiplication. There's no addition. We got a term, and a term. There's no plus sign here, so we can cross these out, and our final answer is 1 plus sine y. Okay, number 4, common denominators. If you see a problem like this, 1 plus cosine x plus 1 over 1 minus cosine x. You got to be thinking common denominators. In this case, the common denominator is 1 plus cosine x, 1 minus cosine x. This numerator of 1 gets multiplied by 1 minus cosine x, and this numerator of 1 gets multiplied by 1 plus cosine x. When you do the math, you get 1 minus cosine x plus 1 plus cosine x all over, this is a minus b times a plus b, 1 minus cosine squared x. At this point, the cosines cancel out because you have a negative and a positive. You end up with 2 over, and 1 minus cosine squared x is a Pythagorean identity. So it's 2 over sine squared x. Never leave it like that. You know that the reciprocal of the sine is the cosecant, so we can rename this as that. And that would be your answer for that type of problem. I might ask you to factor. If I give you something like secant squared x minus 1 over secant x minus 1, you need to see that that numerator is a squared minus b squared. Don't get crazy now. Just factor it as secant x plus 1, secant x minus 1. Your denominator now crosses out, and your answer is simply secant x plus 1. So look for this factoring opportunity on the quiz tomorrow. I think you're going to find one. Next, if the problem asks you to remove a fraction, let's assume you had sine squared y over 1 minus cosine y. The instruction is to get rid of the fraction. You're always going to use the, not complex, but the conjugate, 1 plus cosine y over 1 plus cosine y. You do your math. Your denominator becomes 1 minus and 1 plus, so it's 1 minus cosine squared y. That's a Pythagorean identity. That's the same as sine squared y. The sine squares cancel out, and your answer is 1 plus cosine y, and notice there's no fraction. For purposes of verify, these were all simplified. I didn't give you a right-hand side, but the verify case is all the same, except I'm going to tell you what to simplify to. The only additional thing that you need to know for verify is if I give you a problem like this, where it's the cofunction, remember, the tangent of pi over 2, this is 90. Remember the cofunctions. The tangent of 90 minus theta is cotangent. The sine of 90 minus theta is the cosine. And the secant of 90 minus theta is the cosecant. So in this case, this whole thing is the same as cotangent. And the cotangent times the tangent is 1. So be careful for that. I'm not saying it's on the quiz, but you need to know that. These are the techniques that you should be thinking about. These are the types of problems. These are the complexity of the problems that you'll encounter tomorrow. Good luck.